Hello, this is Jim McKeeth, a lead developer, evangelist, and engineer for Embarcadero Technologies, and welcome to this C++ developer skill sprint for Thursday, February 25th, 2016, on using the FireMonkey TImageList effectively. For all the links and more information, as well as eventual replays, check out embt.co/sprint-TImageList. This skill sprint uses FireMonkey and works across all platforms, but our examples will be with C++ today. The TImageList was introduced in XE8. It's really similar to the VCL TImageList, but actually has a number of advanced features which we'll take a look at. One big difference, though, is it holds the multi-resolution bitmaps instead of the single-resolution bitmaps like were used in VCL. The reason for the multi-resolution bitmaps is on multi-device application development. Some devices have different screen densities, and so you need to have different density versions of your bitmap in order to accommodate those different screens and achieve the best images on those screens. It also supports layered images, so you can actually layer multiple images together in order to create the images that are available for use. That is really cool and really cool feature, and I'll show you how that works here in just a second. But generally, fundamentally, what a TImageList does is it is a non-visual component that provides images to other controls. And so other controls like buttons or whatever menu items can reuse these images. So the TImageList simplifies the graphic asset reuse and management. So it makes it easier for you to reuse the same graphic across multiple controls. This prevents duplication of that image within your application, which would cause it to be take up more space, for example. Also, if you need to swap out an image later in the future because you're upgrading to newer graphics, you change it one place and it changes it everywhere. So it provides a number of great benefits for building complex applications where you need to reuse graphics over and over and over again. So let's take a look at TImageList in action. For this demonstration, I'm going to use the GlyphFX icon library that comes with your C++ Builder or Rad Studio license. It's installed in this folder here as a zip file by default, but you can come in and extract these, which is what I've done. And I'm going to go in here and use these arrow icons, which are these great looking PNGs with transparency. I think look really nice. There they are there. Now, real quick, I'll explain to you why you would want to use multi-resolution bitmaps. I get this question a lot because in FireMonkey we give you multi-resolution bitmaps where you're able to specify different resolutions of the same image. Now, if you don't specify different resolutions of the same image, then it will just pick the one that's closest or the one that you have and then scale it up or down. Now, scaling graphics up generally looks terrible if it gets scaled up very much, but you'd think scaling graphics down would be fine. But I'll point out why this is different. If you take a look at this one here, this clipboard, this paper, it has a whole bunch of lines on it here, which looks really nice at 256. But if we go down and look at the 16-byte one, clipboard, paste, and I'm going to zoom in on this guy. It only has a few lines here. Each line is a pixel, because this is, if you think about it, this is 16 pixels. Each of those lines is 1 pixel. Now, this has less total lines on the page, and those lines make up a larger percentage. If we took that 256 one and scaled it down, it would just be blurry. It wouldn't have any indication of lines. It would just be kind of the sky blue or mostly white looking graphic. So that's why you want to provide the lower resolution ones that have a better indication of less detail. Another example is, let's say you have text. If the text gets scaled down, it's going to get all scrunched together, and it's just going to become a blur. I actually worked at a company that they had their logo, they had a standard that says the logo cannot be smaller than this many pixels by this many pixels, because the letters get scrunched together and you can't read it anymore at that point. So that's why you want to provide the lower resolution versions as well as the higher resolution versions. Okay, so that's enough for multi-resolution bitmaps. Let's go ahead and use a TImageList here. So we're going to put a TImageList down. This is just a standard FireMonkey C++ Builder application. And let's put some items in here. Now, actually, explain this first. There's 3 areas here This is the list of images that you are exporting, that you're making available by image indexed to other controls. These are source images that you can use to create these images here. And then this is where you can actually define the layers that make up these images. So I'll show you what this looks like. The easiest use case is you come in here and hit add, and you're going to select the image you want. So we're going to use the left arrow, and it says, what do you want to call it? We'll just say, yep, that's fine. And here it's added it. Now it added it in all three places. So here's image index 0, which is the one we're going to export at image index 0. But we also have a source image here, which is used to make the single layer image. Now to explain why this is this way, I'm actually going to change this to 256 because it is a 256 by 256 image. We can go in and add an image this way. So we're going to say add new image into source images list, and we'll call it arrow right. And so this is the multi-resolution bitmap editor. So I could come in here and add multiple resolutions of bitmaps. And actually, if you want to have it resize it automatically for you, you can use this button here. And I'll select this one, and it automatically resizes it. So see, we have a 256 and a 128 image bitmap for us. You can add as many resolutions as you want, put the scales in you want, and it'll automatically resize it. And then if you're like, you know what, it looks fine at 256 and 128, but the 64 one, that one we need to have a custom image, then you just come in here and say, I want to go find the custom image for 64 one automatic by myself. But in this case, we're just going to leave them the way they are, and we'll say we're good to go. So now we've added a new image here, and let's add one more, and we'll call this delete. And I'm just going to select just a single image on this one, and we'll get delete. And now I can make a new image down here in the list images. I'm going to hit S, and so when I hit the new one here, it selects whatever image I have in this list here and puts it down. Now I'm going to actually add a layer on this one, so I'm going to come in here and add a layer of that guy there. Now see it put that one on top. I want them the other way around, so let's switch it like this. So now I've got a right arrow with an X over it. Okay, so I can then add a regular right arrow and a regular X, and I could add the other combinations of a left arrow with X on it as well. But you see, I have 3 source images here, and I've defined 4 images by combining them together. So this could be really useful if you, for example, want to have disabled controls or something like that, or disabled icons, or want to build a lot of composite images. It can be very, very flexible, a lot of flexibility in here. Another thing that's interesting you can do is you can only use a portion of the image if you want to. So right now, see this, it's selected the full image. But if I just want part of the image, see that now we're just using the left part of the slash there. So you can do this as well, where you just specify part of the image. I'm going to go ahead and use the full image here. And also, actually, the other place this comes in useful where you choose part of an image is, let's say you have an image that is a single image file that has a lot of small images in it, a lot of small icons in it. When you can go in there and select each of those image files out and make those into separate images from here. And then also, if you add an image that is a multiple, the width and height is a multiple of this, whatever this is specified here, then it will assume that that image is actually made up of smaller images and chunk it up for you. Actually, let's go ahead and try that here. Let's do 32. So I don't have an image that is that format, but let's go ahead and do that, and I'll hit add. So this guy here will be 64 separate bitmaps. Yes, let's do that. So there we go. Now see, it's split it up into separate bitmaps for me here. Now, that wasn't useful because that image wasn't set up for that. But you can see how it worked. You can see we have one single source image, and it made 64 different images here. Again, it wasn't useful because it wasn't set up that way. The last thing, though, here is export, is where I'm going to export these images out. So let's change this to 256 and 256. And this is going to export. You'd call it like a contact sheet in photography, and it's going to put all those images together into one image so that you can import it again later. So let's go ahead and here to pictures, and there it is. And see, there are all the images here. And so it tried, because it way it flowed those back together. It looks like it's almost putting the paper back together, but it's not, because it's just putting back the individual pieces. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense for you. Oh, last thing here is this one here removes design time information. So if we come in here and look at this, it has the path on it. So you can remove the design time information here. Yes, remove the design time information. Now if we come back in, the path is gone. So the path's only needed at design time. And if you want to remove that before you ship your product, you can do that if you want to, or you can leave it in there. It's up to you. Okay, so now we've built our image list up. We've put some images in it. So now how do we get the images out of it? Now, the easiest way to just display an image out of it is to use the glyph, G-L-Y-F. Now, the fact that the library is called glyph effects and this component is called a glyph, a T-glyph, is a coincidence. That doesn't have to be that way. But the glyph has an images and image index property. And that's all it does, is displays the image out of there. So there we go. It's displaying that image. If I want to, I can hit the drop-down list and preview those images. So here's that composite image I built. And then I can look and see, here's one of those ones that we chunked up into little bitty pieces. But let's go ahead and show the composite image. If you want to add it to another control, many controls, I'm not going to say most controls, many controls also have that images and image index right here. Images and image index right there. So now our button has an arrow on it. Now, you're probably not going to want to put your image list on your main form. If you do, you can take advantage of the cool feature to hide your non-visual components. That's really cool. Once they're hidden on the non-visual components, you can come over here and select it from the structure manager, where you can see here's your source images, here's your destination images, which is all your images that we created from those source images based on indexes, and you can see the layers in here as well. So here's the right arrow delete, so it's got the 2 layers on it. And that's all accessible from the properties as well. Source, destination, collections. Okay, but you're probably not, like I said, you're probably not going to put it on your form because you want to be able to share this image list across multiple forms, for example. So you're going to use a data module. So let's go here, right click, add new, other, C++ data module, not a Delphi data module. There it is, data module. Okay, so I'm going here and copy this guy or cut this guy off of here. And of course, it removed all those images. Now I'll paste it on here. And come back here, and we're going to say use unit, use the data module, and then come in here and we're going to specify the image list again. And it kept track of the image index, but we need to specify image list again. All right, and now let's say we wanted to get an image out in code. So let's do that here. I'm going to put it on a TImage, and we're going to extract the TImage on code. Let's put it on the button click event handler here. So we're going to say image 1, and we're going to assign the bitmap. And we're going to assign the bitmap to data module 2 image list bitmap. And so we're going to get the bitmap out. And so we specify the size of the bitmap and the index of the bitmap. Now the size of the bitmap is going to be image 1 size. Now that's the control size. We need the size float record, which is right there. So that's going to give us the size. What that does, it gives you, that way it knows which image to select out of the multi-resolution bitmap. It's going to select the one that's closest to that size, and then it will resize it to that size for us. And the index. So let's go ahead and just pull out, we'll pull out index 1. All right. And that's all there is to it. So we'll go ahead and run this. And when I click the button, it pulled out the image for us automatically. There you go. That's kind of everything you need to know about image lists. Actually, there's probably more you could use it for, more cool features, but it's probably the much what you need to know to get started with the FireMonkey image list today. For more information, there's a great DocWiki page on using TImageList available to you right there. Also, great information on using the image list editor, and that actually has a video that walks you through some of the features as well. And then the sample, TImageList sample app, both in C++ and Delphi is available there. And if you want to read the documentation on the component itself, check out the library reference. Give me a brief moment to tell you about this limited time special offer. All 10 Seattle registered users get the bonus pack, which includes the new Object Pascal Handbook by Marco Cantu. This essential language reference is a modern language guide that includes new features of the language and the core runtime library, a must-have for any Delphi developer. Also get the Binder Converter Basic. It handles the heavy lifting when converting existing VCL applications into FireMonkey applications, so you can start taking advantage of multi-device development right away. And the Premium Style Pack includes premium styles for VCL and FireMonkey to make your application look great on every platform. For more information on these special offers, or to find out what the current offers are, please visit www.embarcadero.com/radoffer. And one more special offer we have only for the month of February is if you buy one tool, you get another tool for free. And it's a tool of equal or lesser price. The website says value, but sometimes you feel like you're getting better value on the free tool. It feels like sometimes, at least for me. So if you buy Rad Studio, Delphi, or C++ Builder 10 Seattle, either new user or upgrade, Professional Enterprise Ultimate or Architect, you can get any of those tools you see there. For example, Kanopka Signature VCL controls, CodeSite Studio 5, Interbase, or a number of the other database tools. Full details and instructions are available at the Rad offer page you see down there at the bottom. So check that out. If you don't have 10 Seattle yet, this is a great time to upgrade to 10 Seattle and take advantage of the special offer. Next time, we have using Apple's Touch ID. So this is going to be an Apple iOS specific skill sprint, but it's going to show us how to take advantage of the Touch ID, which is a little thumbprint scanner, fingerprint scanner built into the home button on iPhones and iPads, and how to use that from your Delphi and C++ Builder applications. It'll be available on Delphi versions on Tuesday, the 1st of March, and C++ version is on Thursday, the 3rd of March. So be sure you join us for that. Tell your friends to be there. And now it's time for Q&A. So question here, if the Glyph Effects library is free to use, it is. The license to use the library that's included is included with your C++ Builder or Rad Studio license. You can't redistribute the whole library, but you can use the library within your apps. Yes. Does the same TImage assign code work with the TImageList in VCL? It's not exactly the same. If I remember correctly, you just specify the index of the image. You do not specify the size in the TImage for VCL or TImageList for VCL. But otherwise, it should work exactly the same. You can assign the image from the image list. Actually, I think it might be more different than that. I'll have to look at it and see. Sorry. Yeah, I'd have to look at the code again and see, because there might be a slightly different, but the same basic idea should work. Question here: if there is a C++ Builder handbook for C++ developers. Unfortunately, we don't have a C++ Builder handbook. That would be great, but we don't have one right now. So, Greg, if you know someone that would like to write a C++ Builder handbook, let us know, and we'll get them to write one, maybe, and you can make a bundle out of that in the future. Although
I should mention on the Doc Wiki, there's a whole developer's guide section, and I'll put that link up. We do have a way to generate sort of ebooks from the Doc Wiki content itself, and I'm attempting to do that for C++ builders, so stay tuned. We've done that, for example, for the mobile tutorials. There's a PDF ebook. If you go to the Doc Wiki and go to like the tutorial section, you'll see a link to a PDF where our Doc team has taken all of the Delphi and C++ Builder tutorials for FireMonkey development and put them all into a PDF that you can print out. But let me put that Doc Wiki link up here in a quick moment. Go ahead, Jim. I'm also typing the while I'm searching. So
I was also going to say that the Object Pascal Handbook does have some chapters on the RTL and such. So there's a chapter on reflection, a chapter on the object class, a chapter on runtime library, chapter on objects in memory, classes in general. So working with classes. So some of these, because they're going to be Object Pascal syntax, but some of it is going to be the RTL, for example, is the same in both C++ Builder and the Delphi. So there will be some utility in there, although the example code would be in Object Pascal's C++. So
if you've got 10 Seattle, you know now that we have C++11 compiler. Also for Win32, there's a project option in the C++ compiler to turn on or off the classic compiler. If you have existing projects or if you do a new project, we have the classic compiler check turned on, but you can go into your projects and turn that off and start using C++11 capabilities. And we have C++11 compilers for Win32, Win64, iOS and Android, not OS 10 yet, but the C++ compiler team, just like the Delphi compiler team, is moving forward and adding capabilities and new things all the time. We're on the committee for ISO C++, so we're looking at the maintenance C++ 14 things, as well as looking forward to C++ 17 to come out. I think Bjarne was saying either 2017 or 2018 till that revamp, next major release of the language. So we're on it and continuing to move the C++ compilers that we have forward, but also keeping the legacy compiler, the classic compiler, the C++ 0x, I call it. It had 9, I think, of the first C++ 11 things. So that's continuing. But let me see how I can use this internal tool we have to generate a C++ Builder Developer's Guide PDF file and get that put up somewhere.
cool. That would be great. So Roger's asking for a guide to where to get help. I know I always go to DocWiki first, and then after that, usually I'm just Googling things. What other places?
So I did a blog post recently.
That's right.
About how to get help. So let me go but yeah, the DocWiki is a great thing. There's all sorts of resources that are not only on our sites but elsewhere in the world. But people always ask me how to get help on different things, and I sort of collected some of that. Here we go. How to get information and help when you need it. There are several ways. Okay. Here's my blog post on. The title was How to Get Information, Help, and Support When You Need It. There's several ways, and it has all the different links to forums, community blogs, the Q&A. I think the Q&A in the community, the answer section of the new community site, is a good way. People post questions up there, and community members, MVPs, some of us get in there and point you in the right directions or answer questions. It's a little more structured. Some people like that through web too. It's like Yahoo Answers or Stack Overflow. You can vote for answers and you can upvote questions and so on using once you're logged in. The quality portal for reporting bugs. The news groups are always there. Those are a little less structured, more conversational than using the Q&A. And then we have a support website with a support knowledge base. But yeah, DocWiki is a great way to start. And then Stack Overflow, there's a C++ section, a C++ builder section, there's a Delphi section. Yeah. But check out the community answers area as well if you want to post a question there. You get lots of good feedback from the global community members that are active on the site.
Yep, great stuff. Okay, well, I think That looks like the end of our questions for today. Thanks so much to everybody for joining us.